Are you tired of scrolling through the never-ending pile of games coming to Steam? According to Games Radar, in 2023, over 14,000 games released on Steam, and that number keeps increasing every year. Every Wednesday, I will dig through the pile, watch all the showcases, and read all of the press releases in search of a handful of games that you need to add to your wish list. With time passing and new games getting announced every single day, the plan is to add a handful of titles weekly to ensure that this won't just be a simple wish list for 2025, but will instead be an ever-growing resource of great-looking games. So if you want to keep an eye on this list, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. With everything out of the way, here is a handful of games that you need to add to your wish list for Wednesday, June 4th. Absolum. There is a lot to get excited about when talking about Absolum. For starters, it's the first original IP from Dotemu, the French publisher behind Streets of Rage 4, Metal Slug Tactics, TMNT Shredder's Revenge, as well as the upcoming Ninja Gaiden Ragebound and Marvel Cosmic Invasion. The score is being led by Gareth Coker, but he'll also be joined by Mick Gordon and Yuka Kitamura, and if you don't happen to know any of these composers, you likely know the games that they have scored, including Ori, Halo Infinite, Doom, Prince of Persia, Dark Souls, and Elden Ring. The story of Absolum also sounds extremely intriguing about a mad king who has ordered the death of all the wizards of the land, and only a small group of ragtag rebels can help, all who have their own different style in combat, but also have their own important story and deep motivation. Most importantly, on a gameplay level, the combat system demands skill and timing, which takes it far beyond an average beat-em-up, as well as offering branching paths. Most importantly, there are also roguelite elements, including in-run upgrades and camp upgrades, which is why Dotemu have labeled Absolum the world's first rogue 'em up. Early previews were glowing, and it was already selected as one of Tribeca Festival's official selections. Hellclock combines and executes flawlessly on two of the most addictive genres of gaming, ARPGs and roguelikes. However, just like Hades, the most addictive thing about Hellclock is the story that keeps you hanging on for new morsels of narrative. Hellclock is developed by Rogue Snail, who are a small indie team from Brazil and are telling the story about one of the darkest moments in Brazilian history, but with a dark fantasy twist. In the late 1800s, famine and drought had people looking for salvation, and they followed a man named the Counselor and built the settlement of Canudos. The Counselor was known for believing that to fix the problems, radical change was needed in Brazil. Threatened by this, the government sent the military 4 different times and eventually massacred 25,000 men, women, and children. In Hellclock, you play as a warrior and a clockmaker fighting to rescue the soul of the Counselor deep within hell and in the search of truth. One of the most interesting gameplay aspects is that each run in Hellclock begins with 7 minutes, and when it's over, you go back to the start. Hellclock is loaded with upgrades in true roguelike nature, as well as ARPG gear and skill trees to explore. The devs have also talked a lot about endgame content coming post-launch. As of right now, there is still a demo live on Steam currently, but you also don't have to wait long because Hellclock will release on Steam on June 18th, and even better, it's not going to be in early access. Tenjutsu. Deep Night Games only have one title on their portfolio, and it's a very short 2D game about firefighting your way into a mysterious government facility to uncover what lies beneath this inferno, and you also had to rescue cats. It began in a game jam and was created in about 48 hours, and was initially designed with the creator's 3-year-old son in mind who loves firefighters. The game is only a few dollars, it only takes a handful of hours, and I highly recommend playing Nuclear Blaze if you haven't yet. But as for why you should be excited for their follow-up Tenjutsu, to put it simply, Deep Night Games is Sebastian Bernard, who just happens to be the creator of Dead Cells, who eventually left Motion Twin to start his own studio, Deep Night Games. Nuclear Blaze had the incredible game feel that Dead Cells had, which was the litmus test that proved just how talented Bernard is. It became obvious that the game feel is his specialty. On his sophomore game at Deep Night Games, Bernard changes perspective and puts the player into the shoes of a Yakuza looking for revenge. As you dismantle the Yakuza, you also loosen its grip on the city, which breathes new life into shops and restaurants popping up, and this will also add hidden shortcuts to future runs, and will also allow you to unlock new weapons and moves. Clearly, I wasn't the only one who played Nuclear Blaze, as Devolver Digital snagged publishing rights for Tenjutsu, which bodes very well for the end product. If you made it this far in the video, let me know in the comments which games you're going to be adding to your wish list, and consider subscribing. Video games is a positivity-first gaming outlet. We believe that gaming should be a force for good. We focus on making uplifting content with constructive discussions and celebrating what makes games great. That's all for today, but until next time, be good to your fellow gamer, but more importantly, be better to your fellow human.